Hey, yo, it's another Tuesday, so we're back. Jason's making that face because I started off here a couple minutes late. It's not my fault. We have, some winds here in San Diego that decided to take down my front gate. It took down a panel where the screws are attached to where you open it. So I had to run a Home Depot, put that panel on because if my dog gets loose, my dog's running around the neighborhood at that point. So it was a mandatory fix, kind of like what the 49ers got to do here with this mandatory off season where it's fixing Jimmy Garoppolo for a first round pick, fixing the free agents under the salary cap. We got a plenty of things going on. But make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Leo Luna, as well as subscribe to Jason's channel, which you're probably already on. If not, get on it. It's at Jason Aponte. So, Jason, how you doing?
Great, man. This is peak off season already, and it's only day 15, and it's just a little bit of a precursor to what we should expect. And every day we're going to come up with one of these reports. Get his ass, Mike. Get his ass,
That's
Mike.
my dad.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dad.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Get him. Get him. Get him, Papa Luna. Get him. But yeah, it's just a precursor in terms of a lot of the stories we're going to be hearing about reports, what people are willing to offer. Mr. H, okay, I hope so. But yeah, happy to be talking with you on a Tuesday, my guy.
Of course, and it's that point of the season where just random lunchtime, I'm doing a mock draft. Random before bed, I'm doing a mock draft. It's that time of year, and it's you see some names like when you get to the third, fourth, fifth round, you never seen before. So now you're just watching random college players and seeing what their production's like, and then you get excited, like, oh, this guy fits this team. He's a starter, and it's someone you never even heard, an hour ago. So that's what makes this off season, and frankly every off season, so exciting, is because you learn names, you learn faces, and all of a sudden you have like 10 draft crushes, but your team takes one of them if you're lucky. So let's get to the big news first. And this is going to be a buy sell topic.
Mhm.
Jimmy Garoppolo getting traded for a first round pick. Notice I didn't say the Washington Commanders there because what Mr. H said, it could be a bidding war. Like one of the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to send pick 20 and ask for the 49ers second round pick in return. I think that's a possible scenario. And when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo, what he gives you as far as like second round value, because I think that's where most people are projecting it, you can't get that in the draft. You can't get that in the trade market. Frankly, you can't even get that in free agency because the best free agent quarterback is what? Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater, let's take out the bridge. Bridgewater can't hold Jimmy Garoppolo's water. That's my best dad joke impression. It completely failed, but hey, buy or sell Jimmy Garoppolo getting traded for a first round pick.
I'm selling it, and that is best case scenario, because if that's the case, then you don't even wait for a bidding war or anything like that. Someone is offering that, then go ahead and take it. If the Steelers say we want to give you 29, but we'll take 61, do it. But I just don't see it. I mean, and if there is some sort of way that it is a buy or that they do it, the 49ers are actually going to have to kick in picks, and I think that it should just be sending Jimmy Garoppolo to acquire picks, not send any off, like get more. So, I mean, who knows how things shake out. And I think a lot of the market is going to be dictated around Jimmy Garoppolo based on landing spots for Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers. And when that market dries up for other places and they have to figure out who they are looking at, there's a guy who has won games in this league when you put people around him, and he'll command your team. And that's what Jimmy Garoppolo is. So right now in February, it's really hard for me to believe that Jimmy Garoppolo will be moved for a first round pick, even though I would love that more than anything. It's just when you start to look at it logistically, the locations, when does this happen? I mean, pick 11 from Washington, that's a premium, that's a haul.
Yeah.
And,
that would be more. That would be more than what this team received for DeForest Buckner.
Right.
Hold that. Getting Washington's pick 11 for Jimmy Garoppolo would be more for this team in return than DeForest Buckner. Why? Yeah, go ahead.
Hard for me to see that. I would love that. Hard for me to see that, though. But again, the market is going to be dictated on landing spots and where people feel he's going to be needed, because there's teams that are on the bridge. Let's see. I feel like if we do get a one for Jimmy, it'll be for 2023. I'd like that. I'd
All right,
absolutely like that
let
because
me
then you
pose
can.
this to you: are they open
Yeah,
to it? Do you think the
they
front
sh-
office would be open to a 2023 first round pick
they should
opposed
be,
to
and
a
if
2022 second?
And if you take the 2023 first, you can package that with something else and get back in the first and get one of your guys this year. And that's another thing. Is like people are discounting whatever pick it is that you get for Jimmy Garoppolo can be packaged in some way to get into the first. And that's the point. Is find a way to get back into the first this year. I mean, if you get a 2022 first, fine. But if you get a 2023 first and you actually can package it with one of the picks here, maybe that comp pick that you just got from Mike McDaniel, as we saw with the Trey Lance deal, then I don't see why wouldn't you? Because you would be giving those up, getting into the first, and probably getting something back in the third. You get into the first, you get an impact player, a guy that you've identified. I like that idea, but it's very early right now to figure out where Jimmy's trade market sits at because we don't know the landing spots of many other quarterbacks, if any at all.
Isn't that what the Eagles basically did for Carson Wentz? They'll say, "Hey, we'll throw conditional tag on this," and basically bank on Carson Wentz earning them a first, and that's exactly what he did. And we're talking about the Colts cutting Carson Wentz, a guy they are giving up a first for.
A
Um,
first and a third.
yes. So, do you think that's another scenario that you could possibly see? Is maybe a conditional pushback to next year? So you figure with Jimmy Garoppolo, looking at his winning percentage, what he is, everyone could say, oh, the 49ers won in spite of Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo did his best to put teams back into the game. Well, hell, so did Nick Mullins, so did CJ Beathard, so did Brian Hoyer. And those guys' winning percentage were equivalent to me playing quarterback in the NFL. So when you add in Jimmy Garoppolo, like the intangibles, it's a real thing. And that's why we're having well, not me, because I could care less about the Arizona Cardinals. That's why people are having the discussions about Kyler Murray, is because they're saying he doesn't have those intangibles. And that's why they're not reaching their true potentials. So it's a real thing. And especially with that whole situation in Arizona popping up right now, I think it bodes well for the 49ers because they could use that as a huge selling point. Obviously, it's not going to be a selling point to get them to first in return, but it could potentially get them a conditional 2023 first round pick.
And if you put some sort of snap limitation or something like that, look, let's call a spade a spade. Jimmy Garoppolo has been injured basically his entire time in the league, for with very few spurts of health. So you could find yourself in a position where he has to hit certain snap limits.
Answer that.
Yeah. Not sure why any GM would want to give up assets for a weak arm quarterback that is routinely injured before week 3.
Desperate.
That's our opinion, but that's not the opinion of a lot of
Well,
people around the league. And there's a lot of general managers and coaches that say, "Man, let me get my hands on him." Look, Sam Darnold got a second chance. Many people, Sam Bradford continued to get second chances in this league. There's always a coach that'll always feel like they can do something with Jimmy
yeah.
Garoppolo or get him to his better potential. So whether you believe that's true or not is a whole different thing. But someone believes that, and that's why you see the overpaying like Sam Darnold and again Sam Bradford being moved. Sam Bradford was traded for a first round pick, and that doesn't really look too good. But
Injury
if
guy
you
as
put
well.
yeah, and if you put some sort of snap limitation or something like that on it, you could net yourself a pick if you're just banking on what the history, unfortunately, is around Jimmy Garoppolo because he's been injured for most of his time in this league. Forget the 49ers. He was injured in New England. He got injured here. And I don't want to wish injury or anything like that, but that's why you put those parameters around it. If he can make it to the snap limitation, or the snap count that you need, then you get that pick. That's the same thing they did with Carson Wentz. So I could see something like that as well, too.
Yeah, it's the thing is this thing is going to be so fluid within the off season. Who said it right here? Avatar. So what you said is Rogers and Wilson stays put, and we definitely getting a first and a third for Jimmy because those two guys stay put. Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson stay. What's the market? What's the trade market at quarterback? None. Deshaun Watson, is he gonna play? Like that's more fluid than Jimmy Garoppolo trades market essentially. And then when you look at the draft, do I think the Washington I was gonna say football team, Commanders
We
will
should
give
call him
up?
that. No. Let's just call him that. That's it. I
See,
don't care what your name is. Washington football team is way better than Commanders.
I had no problem just saying like the Washington Football Club, like they do in
Washington.
some soccer teams. You know what I
I got
mean?
used to it. I hated it in the beginning, but now I liked it, man. It had a certain ring
I
to it.
did.
WTF or WFT, it worked in so many ways. I don't understand why you would even change it. I got used to it. I'm tired of
They
this league, man.
they could have kept it, and if they could have put a W logo on the side of the helmet. They could have put a stripe. It's like if they wanted their uniforms to be ugly on purpose, like just the maroon helmet with the yellow number, not even an outline on it. Took away the stripe completely on the top of the helmet. Um, they could have left it. They could have threw on a W and a stripe, and it would have been perfectly fine. They didn't. Honestly, that's probably better than their current uniforms. It's so. But anyways, we don't want to talk about the Washington football team too much. But it's you look at a head coach. This is the reason why I brought him up. Ron Rivera. Do you think he wants to just go ahead and select a rookie now, have that rookie sit for 2 to 3 years, or do you think you'd rather get a quarterback like Jimmy Garoppolo and win now? It's kind of why he went out and got Ryan Fitzpatrick last offseason, right? In the free agency. You don't think he would be willing to give up maybe a second round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, potentially a 2023 first round pick, where who knows if Ron Rivera is even there in 2023 if they don't win this year? So that's kind of how you want to look at this whole situation. At this point, I am going to sell it with the hopes that I'm wrong and they get a first round pick. Until I see more of this situation get played out, I'm gonna have to sell it for now. Sounds like you sold it as well, correct?
Yeah, I did, but that's a very interesting point too, and I think that that's something that should be applied to across the league. Who's a coach that's on his last
Mhm.
legs and needs to win immediately to make something happen, right? And to get the hot seat, cooler. And I think that's something else that is it should be discussed. Ron Rivera, and we all know how volatile Washington is when it comes to
Mhm.
coaches. Like there have been better coaches who have
Yep.
had better records that have been sent off for less. Um, Maybe he's feeling the pressure of like, I need to bring in a guy who can win right now. And I love your point about Ryan Fitzpatrick because that couldn't ring more true at this point. So how many other coaches are on the hot seat? Like you need to win something right now. Like I could think off the top of my head, a guy like Matt Rule is somebody like that. But I understand they're not in the market for that because they already picked up Sam Darnold's fifth and they're already paying him so much money. But
Yeah.
there's plenty of guys in this league that this is a results driven business. And if you're not producing, nobody cares about what your potential was. Nobody cares about what you did 3 years ago. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl and was fired 2 years later. So this is just how the league is. So you have to start looking at other destinations of coaches who are on their last leg trying to at least make a playoff berth. A playoff berth will ease that conversation unless your owner is dead set on moving you. But that is a great point about Ron Rivera. He's not ready to develop somebody else because he's not going to be here next year for that. Like, that's not the point of any of this at all for him right now. So what he needs to do is try to win now. That's why it's a good discussion to have with Washington. But there's some other places that are like that where guys are, they need to win or they're going to be out the door and they're going to be unemployed. So that's a good point, Leo. I love that.
And if you're Washington, you got to feel comfortable with your situation, right? Playing in the NFC East, you know that they don't have repeat winners since what George Bush was in office, since Clinton was in office.
Oh,
They haven't
senior.
had, yeah, they haven't had repeat winners there in that division. So that means next year it's going to be the Eagles. I have questions about Hurts. I'm sure the Eagles have questions about Hurts. You have the Giants, who literally everyone who watches football has questions about Daniel Jones. And if you're Washington, you trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. This is the funny thing. Jimmy Garoppolo is the worst starter in the NFC West. If you're
Yeah.
Washington and you go get Jimmy Garoppolo, he's the second best quarterback in the NFC East. I'm taking Garoppolo over Hurts. I'm taking
Yeah.
Garoppolo over Daniel Jones. I understand the promise. I understand the dual threat. I'm
But
taking
it
Jimmy
sounds like
Garoppolo
Philly.
over both those guys.
It sounds like Philly would agree with you on that from the rumblings that we've heard today too. That they're going to be a player in this as well. Now, do I believe that Garoppolo will beat him out in training camp? I don't know about that, but if they bring him in, then for me, you don't bring Garoppolo into to compete. Yeah, there you go too. Houston's another place too, man. Like that nobody's really talking about at this point. Like Lovey Smith isn't there. He knows Lovey Smith isn't there to help rebuild. Like he's not going to be there more than I would be shocked if Lovey Smith was there for a second year, just based on the way that they were talking about Josh McCown. And it felt like Josh McCown. They just said, you know what, man, we'll give you another year because they did the same thing to Cully. They want to give this job to Josh McCown. So what does Lovey Smith have to do to keep his job? bring in a guy who can at least win some games. I know Davis Mills is developed, but Lovie Smith doesn't care about the future of your franchise. He cares about the future of his job status and his employment in the league. That's what people don't understand. Why are you not playing the kid? Why are you not grooming the kid? He's not going to be there. Who cares what happens in the future for them? I don't give a damn about developing a rookie if you're going to fire me next year. Like, I never understand people when they make those sort of discussions like, well, you should be playing the kid and developing. For who? For the next guy? No. I got to win games while I'm here. That's the whole point of this business. It's a result-driven business. So Lovie Smith is probably sitting there like, man, I'm not going to win games with Davis Mills. Maybe he believes that Jimmy Garoppolo with the whole, Caserio connection, they could win games, man. I don't know how that works. And again, coaches, when you look at it, why would coaches care about the future of a team that they're going to be fired from? I don't understand. I never understood how people are just like, remember, I think it was the Doug Peterson time, right? With Wentz and Hurts. Oh, develop the kid. He knew he was out the door. He had to win games. Like I don't care about developing a guy for the next guy. I don't care about that, and you shouldn't either. You have to start putting yourself in the shoes of these coaches. It's a result-driven business, and they need to win games now, not 2 years from now when they're fired. Don't warm up the bus for somebody else, and then you don't get any credit for that because you're just going to get your walking papers. So this dynamic and everything, again, it's like day 15 of the offseason. It's going to be very fluid. When we start to figure out where people are signing for, how much, Derek Carr's being floated for 40 mil, something like that as well, too. That's going to change the market. That's going to change how guys want to pay guys, and that's going to change where guys can go. So we're going to see. But right now, this discussion needs to be continuing and ongoing because situations are changing, because we don't know where people are going to land. And also, keep in mind that there are coaches that are very desperate to win games. And no matter what we think about Jimmy Garoppolo, there are people in this league that really believe that Jimmy Garoppolo is like a winner and he can like change your franchise. Whether you agree with that or not, that's up to you. But there's someone that believes that. There's someone that believes that they can help him and fix him and or get the most out of him, not fix him, right? Like, because I don't think you can fix him, but that's the way you should be looking at it, in my opinion, at this point. You're muted.
Now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. If Murray hits free agency, Washington would want him. Kyler Murray's not hitting free agency. The way these contracts are.
Colt McCoy, baby. Just let Murray walk and just roll with Colt.
Yeah, so that the Cardinals get a comp third for Kyler Murray, and that's about it.
As a lifelong Cardinals fan, I think we should cut bait with Keith Murray, with Kyler Murray, and we should roll. It's time to get this thing rolling and put Colt McCoy in there, man. As a lifelong Cardinals fan.
Yeah. So Andrew, I get what you're saying about Daniel Jones. The promise and the potential is, his ceiling is a lot higher than Jimmy Garoppolo. Absolutely. But has he reached that ceiling? No, he's still on the first floor of the building.
That's why Dabble's there, though. Dabble's there to what they're trying to do is put Dabble in a part where because a lot of people give him all the credit for Josh Allen, which I don't. Like, I think he helped, but he doesn't get all the credit for Josh Allen. So I think that's what the Giants are looking at. They're like, hey, man, we'll give you Daniel Jones, similar skill set, whatever you want to say, and let's see what you can do. And if not, his 5th year is up, then that's it. You can just move on from him and we'll just draft somebody else. So at least Dabble has that, he has that safety net with Daniel Jones right now.
Seattle boy.
Jeez. Kyle isn't desperate to win games. Pete Carroll and man, who's your quarterback? Geno Smith? Get his ass out of here, man. Can't wait for Russell Wilson to be can't wait for Russell Wilson to be a Tampa Bay Buck, and you got to live through Geno Smith, man. Y'all exposed yourself. Y'all exposed yourself this year, man. As soon as your team started losing, that stadium was empty as hell, man. Y'all really got 12. Y'all got 12 fans.
Hey, that's how it was, though. Before Matt Hasselbeck and Sean Alexander had their little run, that's kind of how it was. I never thought about the Seattle Seahawks, partially because they were an AFC team. They weren't an NFC team. But I don't want to talk about those frauds anyways. So let's talk about a little bit of free agents here. Most likely to stay. So you're going to choose one player here. A player that's most likely to stay and a player that's most likely to leave. For you guys in the comments, instead of saying stay and leave, you could put S for stay, L for leave. We have Pro Bowl guard now, Pro Bowl. We could throw that on his name now, alternative or not, and I'll be biased on this one. Pro Bowl. Lincoln Tomlinson should have been a Pro Bowler. Nose tackle DJ Jones, and most underrated safety in the league, and probably within this fan base as well. Kwaski Tart. Choose one that's most likely to stay, and one that's most likely to leave.
DJ's the most likely to stay, and Tart's gone. Tart's gone.
Okay.
If you just notice the way they pushed Huff on the field, they used him a lot. They really like him. The writing's on the wall at this point. I mean, I think Tomlinson leaves, though. I do think Tomlinson leaves, but I think when you say most likely to stay is DJ, most likely to leave is Tart. But that doesn't mean that Lincoln stays, right? Like that's the part. All right, here's the problem, right? What the 49ers want to do to pay Lincoln to stay is like 10. But Lakin has played himself into that 15. Now it's up to the 49ers. Is 15 too rich? And he deserves every amount of money on that. And we know Parag's going to punch that number into the computer. And if Parag sees a no pop up on his computer, they're not going to think about it twice. They're going to let Lakin walk. Is there still a chance that he comes back? Yes. Do I hope he comes back? Yes. But with the question that's being asked, most likely to stay, DJ Jones, and Tart's gone. Tart's gone. Tart was gone before the drop pick. Don't think the drop pick was the thing. Tart was gone before that. Like, that was not the deciding factor. That's what's going to stick in 49ers fans' minds. That's what they're going to crush him for, whatever. I'm not here to tell you how to feel because that's, if you're mad, you're mad. I get it, whatever. But he was going to leave before that. He was going to leave way before that. Like, that, it's just the writing was on the wall with the way they wanted to use Hufanga, with the way that they kind of just pushed Tart aside. And then, yeah, look, I got him marked at 61, Petrie. And I think he's better than Hufanga right now. I don't care. Y'all can start killing me. Now let's talk. Petrie's better than Hufanga right now. If you draft him at 61, he starts immediately over Hufanga. Immediately over Hufanga. I hope Tart stays, bro. I really do, man. But if they don't, draft Petrie, and he starts right over Hufanga. Hufanga needs to be closer to the line of scrimmage, playing as a linebacker, running downhill. You cannot leave that man in coverage. Petrie can do both. His numbers in terms of tackles for loss, I believe in 14 games, he had 18 and a half tackles for loss. He had 5 caused turnovers. He's silky smooth in coverage, and he can play in the box. He looks more like Tart than Hufanga does. I would draft Petrie and start him over Hufanga and not even think twice over it. I'm not even close to thinking about that.
The thing that I like about Petrie as well is he could be flexible. You could even play him, at nickel as well. And we talked about how Jimmy Ward and Kwaski are interchangeable as safeties. They could both play high. They could both play in at nickel, covering the guy in the slot, in the box. That's what Petrie does. But Lincoln Tomlinson, this is the problem with him. You talked about it. Is what's his price tag? It's going to be at least minimum $10 million per year. And a player I look at similar to his situation was Roger Saffold when he left the Rams and joined the Titans. Saffold was around the same age, 30 years old when he got that contract. And he left for a 10 million average. That was 2 years ago. So what's the price now for that 30-year-old veteran? Secondly, it's how many Kyle Shanahan clone schemes or Kyle Shanahan, like his father schemes, whatever. West Coast schemes, how many of those, are out there in the league now? A pretty good chunk. How many more of those teams have more cap space? A little bit of them do. And the biggest one to me is Mike McDaniel. Everything he said out there in Miami seems like he wants to be there for a long time. Obviously, what head coach wouldn't want to be there for a long time?
In Miami?
It's freaking Miami. No state income tax. You're living large. Like the dude's looking like he's a part of the next, was it Narcos season 5 at that point? That's
and
what
that
he looks
stadium
like
is
out
like
there.
so close to South Beach, though. That's not in like the bad part. Like that's not in a like whack part of Miami. Like Hard Rock's like in the middle of South Beach.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, you're going out there with the new scheme. Who better than the guy who just made the Pro Bowl at Lincoln Tomlinson, a guard? Usually, how people want to build their lines is kind of like inside out. That's the reason why center is a crucial position to an offensive line. The center kind of gets everyone set, so it goes inside out. It's kind of weird though because tackles are more relevant than guards, but Lincoln Tomlinson, huge guy, advocate in the run game. Miami Dolphins were 30th in rushing last season, so Mike McDaniel's will want to take that over. I'm not saying that he's a lock for Miami.
Jets,
They just have $64 million in cap space.
Jets,
They have a
the
need. The
Jets,
Jets with
LaFleur is
Mike
running that. They
LaFleur.
have they have a ton of
Mm-hmm.
cap. The same thing. They want to do all the same things. Like
Yep.
it's again, if Lakin walks, it's not because the 49ers didn't want to retain him.
Yeah.
Go for it. You got it.
No, I was going to say it's based off of value and what you could do at other positions, and having a guy that you invest in second round pick and Aaron Banks, basically being available to be a plug and play left guard, considering he played left guard at Notre Dame. So,
You good.
that's the situation there with the 49ers. I don't think if Lincoln doesn't sign, you can't blame this front office. You can't, because a guard is one of those, like, hell, we've had Daniel Brunskill starting at guard for the longest now. Last year, Tom Compton was starting at guard. Kyle Shanahan does a good job at kind of disguising his guards within his scheme more so than he can the tackles, especially if you have a center like Alex Mack, but we'll see if he's even coming back. It's going to be tough to retain Lincoln. DJ Jones, it's one of those positions that don't get much love in terms of, salary. I'd be shocked if he made $10 million, which that's probably
He might.
Lincoln's floor.
He might though.
He might, but I would be shocked, because the reason I say that is how the 49ers have used him is basically, say, a 2-down defensive tackle. He
Yeah.
doesn't see too many third
Kinlaw.
downs. So yes, Kinlaw. So since he's not a third down defensive tackle, usually the defensive line, they get paid to sack the quarterback. That's why you see edge rushers like Nick Bosa about to make $30 million a year. If he could just give me a single bag, I would appreciate it. And with DJ Jones, it's more of a run stuffer. So run stuffers are underappreciated, even though they can make offenses one dimensional. So I think it's probably pretty, attainable to keep DJ Jones within the building. Kwaski Tart, what they showed with putting Hufanga up at high safety, the way the season ended, and I think it's kind of hard to retain a guy when stuff like that happens, even though it wasn't like the lost game wasn't his fault. Is it Kwaski's fault that Tom Compton couldn't, block a fly? No, it's not his fault. Is
Their
it his
offense
fault
wasn't
that
moving anyway.
is it his fault that we saw Tomlinson blocking Brunskill and then we saw Mac blocking Trent Williams? Is that Kwaski? No, it's not Kwaski's fault.
There's no
So
guarantee that Tart intercepts that ball and the offense does anything, because the offense was stalling at that point, and they just
yes.
weren't. And whatever, man. It's just people are gonna use that as their way to say, well, we don't want him anyway, or whatever, because y'all been hating on him or whatever. And it's annoying. It really is. I don't care. Tart didn't lose that game, man. You still had opportunities on offense to go get it done at the end, right? Like, you still had the ball in your hands and you were down, 4, right? Or 3, whatever it was. You could have tied the game. You could have won the game on offense, man. Don't give me that crap, man. Like, that's one play in the grand scheme of things. Also, you're not in the NFC Championship game without Tart running down Aaron Jones, but nobody ever wants to talk about that, right? Like, everybody just wants to bring up turnover plays and all that stuff. I'm tired of it, man. Like, it's just, look.
If he's not available, go ahead.
I love what Tart brought, man. But, like, you know what? Go get paid somewhere else, man. For real, man. Because somebody else is gonna highlight the things that you do well, as long as they understand what you're in position to do. Like, I'm done with the whole discussion about how Tart fumbled the bag here, man. There's a lot of things like the Super Bowl and like the NFC Championship. It took an entire team to blow that one, and the entire team did. So don't give me that it was Tart. Stop it. It's a team game. Don't do that, because y'all don't want to blame Jimmy Garoppolo when things go wrong, right? Because y'all want to say, oh, the team, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Same thing. Team game, right? Keep that energy.
So Cynthia wants to know.
We shouldn't, though.
Yeah.
We shouldn't let him go. We shouldn't.
Explain it. It's just,
It's just Parag's gonna punch that number into his computer, and he's gonna say that's too much. And you know what? Godspeed. We're just gonna move on from you. That's just how they operate, and I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I think Tomlinson and DJ are must signs. I do, absolutely. That doesn't mean that that's how the 49ers view them. That's my issue.
Yeah, to me, it's huge to bring back DJ Jones, but most likely to stay. That's my guy, DJ Jones. He helped make offenses one-dimensional, have to go back there and pass. And when they do want to run a balanced game like the Green Bay Packers, it doesn't work out too well.
He made me forget that Javon Kinlaw was on this team.
Yes.
I forgot that Kinlaw played. Like, when I watched the Week 3 film, because I was going through the Packers stuff, I was like, oh, wow. I was like, Kinlaw. I was like, oh, yeah, remember? That's how good he was.
The dude was fantastic, and even though he's not out there very much on third down situations, pass rush situations, you still saw him get his. He got his sack against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoff. He did create pressure against Matthew Stafford in the NFC Championship game. Like, the dude does get his, provided the opportunity. But if you could get a guy for around 5 to 8 million, I think that's probably, to me personally, what I see run stuffers go for is 8 million, and he's also a smaller run stuffer. So I think that's why some teams won't be as eyed in on him, even though it's the
I
weirdest
know a
crap.
team will. I know one team that will.
Tell me.
Seattle, man. You know
Yes,
Seattle's gonna go throw the bag at this man. Come on, bro. You know
that's
Seattle's
true.
sitting there like, oh, the 49ers letting this guy go. Throw the bag at him.
Yeah, that's true. So that most likely to leave, I'm gonna say, is Kwaski, and then Lincoln somewhere in the middle. It's can they figure it out situation. So that's my most likely to stay, most likely to leave A group. I'm gonna get to the B group right now, but before I do so, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share it to your buddies. Join the content. Join the conversation here within the comments. You guys always have it a great time. That's why I keep posting it up on the screen, because, we talking about 49ers together. It's not Jason and I talking to it. It's legit all of us here talking together. And if you can't comment, then sign into your YouTube channel or YouTube page and comment with us. I'm telling you guys, let's get down to the B group now. Most
So
likely to stay, most likely to leave. Arden Key, KK, also known as K1 Williams, or Trent Sherfield.
likely to stay, I'm gonna say Key, but I'm gonna say that the most likely to leave is either of those two. I don't think either of those guys are coming back. K1 or Trent. Um
Wow. Okay.
KK is 31, bone on the knee. He took a 1 year deal. I could see him going right back to New. We all talked about it last offseason that we thought he was going to be with the Jets and he was just going to go over there. I mean, he lives damn near 20 minutes from the stadium, probably less. He lives 20 minutes from me in Patterson. And Trent, unfortunately, what we saw in training camp did not translate. And this receiver room is going to look different. You know, they've got three guys that are coming back: Ayuk, Jennings, and Samuel. But they're going to have to replenish this wide receiver room either through free agency with bargain bin stuff like they usually do, or in the draft. And I just don't know if Sherfield's going to be back for all of that. I mean, maybe they bring him back just because you saw the connection with him and Trey early in the postseason and during camp. But I got Key coming back. I got KK to leave, and maybe Sherfield stays. I like that from Tony, actually, that he stays because of special teams. So I'll say that he at least has a better chance to stay. But I don't think KK is coming back this year.
Yeah, I don't think KK is coming back either. I think his time is probably up. He's a little older. What's that cup say, by the way?
Toxic.
Oh, they named it after you.
I mean, that's why I have it. Someone gave it to me knowing damn well what I am, and I was just like, man, I'll take this. I don't like it, but you got that right.
Oh, and you guys, Rams Kingdom there in the comments. Imagine winning the Super Bowl and hopping on a 49ers YouTube page. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like, bro, do
Nah,
something. Like, but
congratulations, bro.
I blocked them for 5 minutes. Like,
Nah,
congrats. Here's a bot.
congratulations. Nah, congratulations, Rams Kingdom. You should enjoy that. That's a big win, and
No,
you
but
know
he's like capping in the comments and all that. That's why I
that's
blocked
all
him for
right.
five
Nah, he's
minutes.
good. He's good, man. Hey, look, do what you want to do, man. The world is yours. The season's gonna be back in a little bit, and we don't care about who won the Super Bowl after that, and it's on again or whatever.
Nah,
So
like it's
enjoy your time, though. Enjoy your time. The game was
24
Sundays too.
hours.
It's no,
24
no,
hours.
no, 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 no. Get the if the Niners won the Super Bowl, bro, we ain't doing no 24-hour rule. We're gonna be talking for months, man. Let that man ride out on that. I'll give him that, man. You got that.
So I think it's KK's time. You do have Diamador Lenore that you could try in the slot. You have the forever 49er in Dante Johnson, who you could
He ain't going
try
nowhere.
out in the, he could probably compete for that starting nickel in camp, as long as he doesn't go against shifty receivers like Cole Beasley, because I remember that Monday night game, he got ate up in 49ers home game in Arizona, in 2020.
Yeah, but a little bit of that too was Tarvarius Moore was just running somewhere else, and guys were like,
Yeah.
there's a lot to do with that, because I saw a lot of Tarvarius Moore love today, and I was just like, okay,
Well, people
guys,
forgot. It's been a year. People
yeah, like,
forgot.
okay, guys, like, I get that you're like, oh yeah, I remember, but let's not get all crazy. Like Tarvarius Moore is the answer, also, and
Hey,
I guess
I hope
we'll discuss
I
that
hope
later
he
on.
could be the answer.
I don't
I
know if
hope,
he is.
pop on
I
a
don't know
bunch
if he
of
is.
film and maybe it sticks and he's not out of position anymore.
But
Like,
that doesn't mean
hopefully.
that Kyle and them aren't just gonna start Hufanga over him, even if he is playing better. Oops, did I say that? Let me just take a sip real quick.
No, man. Um, and then most likely to stay, I'm gonna say Sherfield. The reason why I'm saying Sherfield is he's gonna be the easiest to retain between himself and Arden Key. Arden Key had a pretty nice season. He did kind of slow down in the playoffs, Packers game and the Rams game. He kind of I think he had an injury in that Rams game as well, so he kind of slowed down. And it's those last final memories that people have in the postseason where guys just get the bag. With Arden Key, he didn't have that. His best memory was, say, the Cowboys game. So that was about 3 weeks prior to that. Although he had a nice season, he's probably going to he's going to make more than he made this past season at that vet
Oh
minimum.
yeah.
He's probably going to get somewhere around 8 or so per year. I don't know how. Once again, Prague's got to crunch those numbers. When do you trade Jimmy? Do you trade him, quickly enough for free agency, or are you literally trying to hold on for him to the last second to get that first round pick? D Ford are you going to be able to elevate your salary cap by moving on from D Ford? How much?
His money came in guaranteed though, and they can only move on. They can only save about $2 million by cutting him at this point. That was something I learned
Hey,
today.
two mil is 2 mil.
It is. But
That's half of Robbie Gould's contract.
well, I'm not gonna talk bad about Robbie Gould because he's like the 49ers postseason MVP. No, with D Ford, the $2 million and the reward of him possibly playing well, I don't know, man. That doesn't seem like something I would just immediately write off. I really just wouldn't. I mean, even though at 61, I would love Ebukadi, maybe the Boye Malfi from Minnesota, right? To like be that other guy. But like
Mm-hmm.
D Ford has a chance with the way that they converted all that money to be found money this year if he somehow is able to get on the field. And if the 49ers start being smart and
No,
stop
man, we're
practicing
not going
him.
to have that conversation. We're
Yes, we
not going to
are.
have
Of
that
course we are. We're
conversation.
not
Come
when
on.
we go to cover camp, and he's dominating one-on-ones, we're gonna be right back here about D Ford's back. Look at how D Ford looks. So
No.
stop it, Leo. Don't
No,
act like you're above it.
what they need to do is go ahead and put him in one of those water drone things
Don't practice him.
put
Don't
up
practice him. Get
and
him
put
ready
in
for
his
game
air
day.
mask in one of those, what they put in with
Dude.
the aliens. They need to or freeze his body. Just freeze
Dude.
him for the next 6 months. Week 1 comes, unfreeze him, and now he's available to play.
Dude,
Don't
Auburn,
I do not want to see him practicing.
Kansas City, they knew what to do with Ford. They didn't practice him. Get him ready for game. He's a game day guy, man. You don't need him to practice. He needs to go get the quarterback. That's the thing. And then the 49ers want to, well, everybody needs to practice and everybody needs to run hard. No, man. Like you have to start managing your personalities and your bodies better. So don't practice this man Monday through Friday. Get his ass ready for Sunday. Like, what the hell are we doing here, man? And it's been tried and trusted through college.
Put him in a tank. Put
Yeah.
him in a tank.
But that's what Auburn and Kansas City did, and look what they got.
You gotta just put him in a tank. Put the man out for 6 months. Let him come back. I saw something here. So James, I don't know how accurate these Spock track and
But it's
these
only
over the cap
2.4.
numbers, because it
It's
seems
only
like it's always fluid. What you see on those sites seems to always be fluid, and it seems to be some type of nuance in between there to where it's not 100% accurate on those sites. But I say that based on what I saw on those sites it's basically you can cut him post June 1 and it's 4.9 in dead cap this year and then a 4.9 in dead cap next year. Do the 49ers really want to basically, let's quick round up, $5 million in dead cap in 2023?
No.
Do they really
4.9.
want that?
Do the 49ers want 4.9, 4.9, 49? You starting to get it? Like, we're in off season now, so you need to start correlating all this
This
stuff.
is like the
4.9.
first dad joke I've seen you make, and it makes me happy.
Hey, listen, I'm a dad too, man. What the hell?
I know, but
4.9, 49?
I'm younger than you, and I'm making all the dad jokes out here.
Everybody's younger than me, bro. Stop playing with me.
Come on, self-love. Don't do that to yourself.
I mean, I do
You're
love
already
myself.
with the toxic cup. Come on
Oh
now.
yeah.
Your Valentine got you that, huh?
No. No. No, she didn't. Wait, y'all
Eh,
got Valentine's out here, man? Must be nice, man.
Why you capping?
I
Your Valentine got you flowers,
nope,
huh?
nope. I got nothing.
I see the roses on the table. You get those were for you, huh?
Where they at?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So let's go. Let's talk about next 10 years. Since we got Rams fan here in the chat, we might as well bring up the Rams. Next 10 years, I find this interesting because it's this Sean McVay is basically not committing to coaching for the Rams next season. And to me, it's just kind of sus because if I want a Super Bowl, the first thing I'm saying is, hell yeah, I'm back. I'm trying to repeat. Hell yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trying, but that's 100% if you're bought in. Seems like he
but
wants to start a family, get paid more by doing TV for 5% of the work that he's currently doing now. Um, so let's talk about next 10 years. Who are you taking as your head coach? Is it going to be Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan? And I'm saying most playoff wins over the next 10 years. Which coach are you taking?
before I get into that, I floated a wild theory off in the offseason because people were like, why would you trade all these picks? Why would you move this? No, you're not, Daddy Luna. You're not. You're definitely not.
He's older than you. Come on.
No, he's not. It's just that I do a lot of exfoliating. I floated something out in the offseason. Everybody was asking, well, they're trading all these picks. They want to win now. And I kept saying, Sean McVay don't want to be here. He's not going to be here for long. He's not going to be here for long.
I
He wants
remember
to
you
win.
saying that.
I do. And I will pull up my receipts because I have them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember saying that. He wants to win a bowl. And when he wins his bowl, he's validated. And he gets to do whatever he wants now.
Mm-hmm.
So now he gets to walk. He can walk away tomorrow. And guess what? Rams fans, you're happy because you got it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've always floated that idea out there. And now I'm starting to feel more and more like I was definitely onto something at this point, right? Because he can quit, move on, go do a year in the booth, and go get a bag somewhere else and then start over. And then he doesn't have to deal with the ramifications of trading all of those picks. And then you're in absolute cap hell. Any of that. So that's the first thing I want to point out. I am going to pat myself on the back for that one because I definitely saw that coming. This is the only explanation. It's the only explanation, man. It really is. There's no way that you send all those picks and you're invested in the future. This man was trying to win a Super Bowl faster than Kyle Shanahan, faster than many people to just say, I got my bowl, I'm out of here. And he did it. And credit to him. Credit to the Rams for doing that. Okay. Next 10 years, man, what are we talking about? Kyle Shanahan. Sean McVay was this close to blowing that game as well, man. Like, there was like again, and he wasn't even good in the NFC Championship game either necessarily, right? Like, you got very lucky that Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't keep this offense rolling, that the offensive line wasn't playing well, that Aaron Donald turned into Aaron Donald. There was so many things in the way of Sean McVay. Sean McVay tried to give that game away as many times as he could. First of all, why would you try to challenge that with that one play when that was your last time out in the second half? Like, this man isn't some sort of genius. The reason that they won is because they're so star heavy and things align. That's it. Like, so it's not necessarily anything that, I saw some stupid tweet that somebody was like, "Oh, McVay's son, Kyle Shanahan." What are you talking about, dog? Like who believes that? Not in any way. Sean McVay tried his best to give that game away. He tried his best. And guess what? The 49ers tried harder, and they succeeded in giving that game away. It wasn't that at all. When it was 17-7, if you ever noticed, right? Watch the replay of that NFC Championship. When Jimmy Garoppolo throws that touchdown to George Kittle, they put the camera on Sean McVay, and he's like, calm down. No. You calm down. Now, you're not telling anybody else to calm down. You were feeling it right there. And that's when things started to change after that. So Sean McVay is not going to be here for 10 years, clearly. But I'm going to take the guy that actually has built this. There is no Sean McVay without Kyle Shanahan. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Coach. What are we talking about here? And Coach has a plan, right? Coach has his guy now. Matthew Stafford ain't going to play forever, and you can't keep all of those guys either, right? So even if Sean McVay stays, that's not a sustainable thing. I'm glad you won your Super Bowl because you damn well are better because you're gonna be sitting there like mad now that you sent all that for nothing. But now you sent all that for Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham's not gonna be back. He's not gonna be ready to play again until next February, probably, right? So somebody's going to sign him. He's losing a whole other year. Von Miller's about to test free agency. So you won. That's good. But at the same time, that top-heavy roster is not sustainable. And that's why I never felt like Sean McVay was going to stick around because you've got to go through the bad times after that when you end up in cap hell. So Sean McVay is going to move no matter what, and someone else will give him a job. So give me Kyle, man. They did it the right way. No matter if they didn't win, they still are set up for success going forward. They have their guy on a rookie deal. They know what they want to do. They have their core intact. They have the best left tackle in football. They have the best tight end in football. They've got the best offensive weapon in football, and they're still going to be adding people. So, yeah, give me Kyle Shanahan. Come on, man. Let's get Homer on this.
Do you think that this whole Sean McVay retirement thing has to do anything with Aaron Donald? Is it possible that Aaron Donald will not play for another head coach and be like, yo, I won my bowl. I don't want to deal with the whole new regime as far as the coaching staff. Like, I'm good. I won my bowl. I got to spend it now with my family, spend my life. And the dude could probably have success after football as well. So do you think those two things are kind of linked together? If McVay comes back, Donald comes back as well, because seeing those comments with Aaron Donald, who's not committing to play next season, I feel like after Harrison said that if the Rams win, Aaron Donald's, going to think about retire. He legally has to retire. Damn it. I'm tired of seeing that man on the field. So
look, don't underestimate what players see, right? Aaron Donald sees what's down the future because you have to pay all these guys. You're not going to have picks. Now, how do you replenish this roster, right? And I'm going to correlate it. Let's really get deep in the weeds. Let's correlate it to somebody who's a 49er legend. Okay? Patrick Willis was injured, but don't tell me that he didn't notice where things were about to go. And he's like, I'm not dealing with the injury day in, day out, trying to get back when I know where this team is going. So don't sleep on Aaron Donald knowing where his team is about to go, where that franchise is about to go, in the same way that Patrick Willis said, I'm going to walk away from the game now before you bring in Jim Tomsula, and I have to deal with all these injuries and play on bad teams. He knew it. He saw it, I believe, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Conspiracy theory time. Put the tinfoil hat on. But Aaron Donald knows the schematics of football. He's too smart. So he can leave at the height of the game right now. Aaron Donald could leave right now. He's played 8 years. He's been an all-pro. Forget Pro Bowls. All-pro. 7 times. 7. That is one of the most dominant players in the history of football. He's an immediate first ballot Hall of Famer. That's not Pro Bowls. Patrick Willis made 7 straight Pro Bowls, and that's still a record. And there's something that needs to be said about that. But 7-time first-team All-Pro? That's something different. So Aaron Donald knows, I don't got to do nothing else to prove myself. I got my ring, and I know what's going on with the Rams going forward. So I don't want to be a part of that. And I'm not here to rebuild around a bunch of people and lose a bunch of games now. Just throwing it out there.
Waller? That's what we're doing. All right.
Kelsey, Waller, Kittle. But that's like an avatar with no profile picture. I don't know if we should acknowledge that. Yeah.
That's true. I'm taking Kyle. So if you look at the past seasons, obviously you got to tip your hat to McVay. Like, McVay has the advantage. Despite what Shanahan has done to McVay head to head, Sean McVay has been the better coach. Sean McVay also had Jared Goff. If we want to say how Shanahan has had Jimmy Garoppolo. The thing is, Shanahan has made it to 2 NFC championship games when he's had Jimmy Garoppolo for a substantial amount of time throughout a season. Literally, if Jimmy Garoppolo plays 15 games, the 49ers make the NFC championship. That's what Kyle Shanahan has done as a coach. It's pretty damn impressive. While McVay has made, correct me if I'm wrong, 1 NFC championship with Jared Goff. And he had Matthew Stafford this year. If the 49ers had Matthew Stafford this year, I guarantee that Super Bowl. There's no way that they lose to the Rams.
That's why we wanted him. But, oh, wait. Stat
Yeah.
Padford, in my opinion.
Yeah. So it's like,
Y'all
okay,
all got to walk that back now.
one
All
of
of
the
you.
biggest things in this league of success is the quarterback position. So look at what these two head coaches have had. And like I said, I'm not going to make an excuse for it. Over these past years, you tip your cap to McVay. He's has had the more success than Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah,
So,
they made the
but
playoffs.
if I'm
1 year? 1 year
if
they missed
like
the
if we
playoffs.
don't even have to say 10 years, let's say 5 years. Let's
Mhm.
cut that down in half. Which coach am I taking over the next 5 years? It is Kyle, or which coach do I expect to have more playoff wins the next 5 years? It's Kyle Shanahan. Because I don't know if McVay is going to retire this offseason. I don't know if he's going to retire next offseason or the year after that. I know with Kyle Shanahan, he can care less about joining the media. He can care less. This dude wants to
He
be
would
an
be the worst
NFL
in
head
media.
coach. He
He would be the
yeah,
worst. I would not want to listen to coach talk like, well,
um
I mean, it's a
um
good route, and it's another good route over there. Like I love coach, man, but like keep that on the sidelines.
Yeah, so it's with Kyle Shanahan. He's not retiring to be in the media. This dude's going to be there for, like I said, if we cut this in half, 5 years, he's going to be there for those 5 years. And with Trey Lance moving forward, albeit health, the way this roster is currently constructed, with the cap possibly going up, I think the 49ers can possibly go 5 for 5 in these playoffs, and make it the next, say, 6 years straight, making the playoffs. I really do. That's how talented this roster is, and that's how talented this coaching staff is. So I'm taking Kyle Shanahan, and plus Kyle Shanahan's shown he can win in the playoffs. His two losses were obviously completely ugly, something that you never want your team to
Yeah,
go
but
through.
playoff losses
Um,
are ugly though,
yeah,
inherently.
but
It
look
doesn't
look at
matter
it.
how.
It's a winning record in the playoffs. Two road win games, despite Jimmy Garoppolo not playing to his
As a head
career
coach,
average.
don't bring up that Atlanta Super Bowl. That's not him.
I'm saying with these two, I'm not counting that.
No,
I'm
not you,
counting
but
head
people
coach.
do.
Yeah,
Like someone today was like, "Oh, how do you do in that Super Bowl?" I was like, "Oh, he was head coach. Dope." I was like, "So that means he had to cover the defense too?" Like, no, that doesn't count.
yeah. And you never see someone's coaching record get counted for their coordinator jobs. You don't.
With
Um,
Kyle, it does.
so with Kyle, it's Jimmy Garoppolo was below his career average, as far as a quarterback. His career average is a 98 quarterback passer rating. These playoffs, he was what, 20 below that. He was in the 70s, 60s for passer rating.
He threw his two
Despite that,
touchdowns in the NFC Championship game.
he threw to, or Debo took a screen to the house.
He threw that one to Kittle.
There you go. He threw the one to Kittle. Tebow took it. That's funny about the quarterback position. That's why I tell you, stats tell half the story. They tell half the story. Sometimes stats will support a narrative, and sometimes stats do the opposite for a narrative. It's Debo Samuel caught a screen and housed it. Jimmy Garoppolo just threw the screen behind the line of the scrimmage and got it counted for a touchdown.
It's a nice
Hey,
screen.
but that's the NFL. That's the
It's a nice
NFL.
screen.
So,
It was a nice
yeah,
screen though.
it still counts. I'm not trying to take it away from him. It still counts. Like a pitcher in the MLB can have a 4.5 ERA, but have finished the season with 15 wins.
Oh,
It
that sounds
still
like
it
a
still
Yankee pitcher.
counts. It still counts. So, um, next 5 years, I'm taking Shanahan. Next 10 years, I am absolutely taking Shanahan because McVay is not going to be the Rams head coach in 10 years. But that's fine. If you're a
Only
Rams
chance.
fan, don't get mad about that.
You
Look,
won.
if you would you rather have 10 years of McVay or this current Super Bowl? You take this current Super Bowl. So don't get
Yes.
mad about that.
Yeah.
That's just the dude loves to talk, and he's gonna be in a booth one day, or he's gonna just be on TV and have his own show. Like, he already has his own podcast with Peter Schrager from NFL Network, the Flying Coach one, where Shanahan admitted that he wanted Matthew Stafford and was told that he could go ahead and sleep on it.
Can you
So,
stop talking about like the Matthew Stafford thing because we were
all
in
right,
Mobile? Like, come on, man, don't bring all that stuff up, bro. Because remember, we were wrong, right? Like, none of us, no, we didn't know. We had no idea. The 49ers were never in on Stafford or anything like that, right? Right? Anything like
all right.
that?
Hey, marketing pro, you're here in the chat. What would you rather have, this current Super Bowl or no Super Bowl, but have Sean McVay for the next
This
10
current
years?
Super Bowl, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah,
Congratulations, marketing pro, man. Way to go, Matthew Montana, Cooper Rice, all of that stuff that you be saying, man. Good for you,
and
man. Way to go,
and
buddy.
and Cooper, marketing pro. Cooper's with a C. It's
That's
C.
fine.
Cooper's with the C. Cooper
I
Cup.
think he's doing that on purpose. He's purposely trolling. But hey, listen, credit where credit's due. Enjoy Marketing Pro, man. You should enjoy that. And there's no 24-hour rule on the Super Bowl. You should be talking crazy all the way until the season starts. When the season starts, all bets are off. Nobody cares about what happened last year.
You know what? If I had to choose a team in the division for it, it was worse for when I saw the Seahawks win it. Honestly, even though I live in Southern California, like I saw something out there said, what would you rather, or which team do you dislike most, the fan base, the Rams or the
But
Seahawks? And I
there's
was like,
15
neither.
Rams fans. There's
I was
15
like,
Rams
neither,
fans. You can't
because
get mad at them.
I don't
Dude,
ever see them in person,
I
either of
watched their
them.
rally. I watched their rally before the Super Bowl, and it looked like there was just the family of the team. If you look at when the Bengals were about to leave and they went into their stadium, that stadium was packed with fans. Like it is what it is. So Akash sent out a really nice tweet that'll really drive the point home that there are no Rams fans besides like Marketing Pro and the few people that are in here.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl was down in LA, watched 32%. It's in your town. It's in your town. If there was ever a time for you to have a bandwagon time and a moment, there are no Rams fans, bro. There aren't. It's so wild to me. But shout out to those 15 Rams fans. Enjoy this one, man. You deserve it. You've been 10 toes down since they moved from St. Louis. They went from LA to St. Louis and back. Y'all did it, man. Y'all did it. Raise that trophy, man. Enjoy yourselves.
Biggest priority this offseason, the 49ers O-line or the 49ers secondary?
49ers O-line. And that's not something that people are going to say and they like or anything like that, right? Like everybody wants JC Jackson. That's not happening. Sorry, 49er fans, not happening. Yeah, I don't care, Fernando. Come on, man. O-line. O-line. You are at a point right now where you could be starting 4 different people. Yes, exactly. That's disgusting. A disgusting display, Tony. You are at a point right now where you only have one position locked down for the offensive line, Trent Williams, and you've got 4 question marks. Can Lincoln come back? Is Alex Mack coming back? What happens with Daniel Brunskill? Can Mike McGlinchey return from this injury? Its offensive line is not even close. This team is nothing without being able to run the ball and being able to protect. As you saw in the last 2 weeks, the 49ers struggled mightily in Green Bay because they couldn't stop the pass rush. Tom Compton popped up. For all those people that were talking crazy about Mike McGlinchey, those last 2 weeks, that's Tom Compton. And I'm glad that I'm not glad that it happened because the 49ers didn't win, but y'all need to stop telling me about Tom Compton, bro. He got hid the entire year, and then it ended up showing its face in the last 2 weeks. Rashawn Gary whipped his ass, and then everybody else whipped his ass in the LA game. But you have 4 spots on this offensive line that are not locked down. They're all question marks at this point. It is obviously offensive line because you know what? No matter what, the defensive back room, Emmanuel Mosley's back. And you know what? Worst case scenario, Ambry Thomas is back. Jimmy Ward is going to be here. And now you got to figure out strong safety. But let's just say there's a world where I believe that Jason Verrett is back as well, too. Jason Verrett starts over Ambry Thomas 10 out of 10 times, as long as he's healthy. And I think that he will take a deal like that because he did injure himself. So that's fine. And a nice fallback plan from Jason Verrett is Ambry Thomas. So I think the 49ers DBs, even if they remain steadfast with what they have and don't add anything in the draft or anything like that, which I believe they will, or free agency, it's the offensive line. Hands down, this offensive line is going to look drastically different if the way things play out, like how it looks. Oh, of course, Fernando. You're muted.
I said appreciate you as always. We got a donation here from Tony real quick, so let's just hit on it. Tony, appreciate you, my guy. I think McVay is overrated. The decision to trade the farm was all up to Les Snead.
This team didn't win because of McVay.
Yeah.
All right, so it was like that play call on 3rd and something where he tried to run the reverse and throw the ball. I'm like, so money time right now. Money time. That's your break brain play, Sean McVay. The refs definitely bailed you out there at the end because the Bengals would have finished that. You're very lucky that Zach Taylor did similar things on 3rd and 3rd or 2nd and 13 to get them to 3rd and 9 and run the ball. It's, again, watch it play by play. and you realize Sean McVay's not a bad coach, but he won a Super Bowl. Many coaches have won Super Bowls, and Doug Peterson just got another job. He won one 2 years ago. He just beat the GOAT, or 3 years ago. He won the GOAT. He beat the GOAT, fired. Like, coaches, they get a lot of the praise, but come on, man. Objectively look at this. Like, third and whatever it was, 3rd and 5, that's your play? Was a reverse to like throw it back to Stafford and Cup overthrew it? What are you doing, dog? Like, if Kyle Shanahan did that, y'all would be killing him. But you know
Yeah,
what? The
facts.
result changed. Come on, man.
I would be hella killing. Well, I wouldn't, but majority of people would be killing Kyle Shanahan for that. Um, I was. What did I kill Kyle Shanahan for? Oh, the 3rd and 1. I figured they had 2 possessions there, and they ran the ball. I thought play action was going to be it, but you know, I don't want to talk about that no more. I don't want to talk about the NFC Championship. I'm over it.
No,
I don't want to talk. No, man. Biggest priority has got to be the 49ers old line, right? We saw what happened to Joe Burrow, third most sacked quarterback of all time, including postseason sacks. Um, Rams just ate that guy up. Granted, they have special players like Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald on that
but
defensive
I wanna
line.
I wanna
But
throw out a
go
stat real
ahead.
quick. Rob Shue brought this stat up, and it's not my stat. Remember how we talked about like Andrew Luck getting murdered right behind an offensive line?
Oh, Joe Burrow talking about him getting
Andrew
like saying
Luck
retiring too soon or
Andrew
something
Andrew Luck took 32 less sacks than Joe Burrow has. 32.
in the first 2 years.
Yes.
Jesus,
That's not a recipe for success, young man.
no.
I hope they help that man, but Andrew Luck got tired of like returning from injury, returning like and taking the hits. Like y'all don't understand it. You're just like, oh, why would he walk away? Because his game hurts. It sucks. Play tackle football for one game and tell me how you want to play another game, let alone seasons. So yeah, obviously offensive line. Keep going, Leo. My bad.
No, you're straight. Um, so it's you got to protect your investment. Your investment's always going to be your young quarterback back there. It's you got to the biggest priority is because the only one that you know that is guaranteed a return is Trent Williams, Williamson. Trent Williamson. Jesus
Trent
Christ, Trent
Williamson.
Williams. Trent Williams. I put Tomlinson and Williams together. So Williamson. Trent Williams is the only one guaranteed to come back. Is Lincoln going to go out in free agency? Is Matt going to retire? Brunskill, yeah, he's probably going to be back. He's a restricted free agent, but is he a
Maybe,
starter? Is he a
maybe though.
starter?
I
You could
mean, if you
throw
have
you
to start
look
him,
it. You
if you
could
have
throw
to start
second
him,
round. You could throw second round tender on Brunskill, and you only have to pay him 110% above his salary last season. I could pull up his salary, what he made last season, because I looked at the same thing um, for Aziz Al Shire, and his 110% above last year's salaries only is only about just like around $1 million. That's all Aziz they have to pay Aziz next year on a second round tender. Yeah. Brunskill made 850 this year, so that's the same about Aziz 110. So basically a 10% increase. He's at $1 million. So yeah, throw the second round tender on it. I don't know if you have a limit on how many second round tenders you could use on your restricted free agents. But yeah, nobody is trading a second round pick to go ahead and negotiate a contract or an offer sheet for Daniel Brunskill. So that's an option. Um, you can't do an original round tender because Brunskill was not drafted. Same thing with the Z's. That's why I'm saying second round tenders for them because it's either a first or a second or original round tender. Both players were undrafted, so you don't have that option. Um, so it with him, you don't know if he's starting at right guard next year. You have no clue. McGlinchey, you have no clue if he's starting at right tackle next year. It's too early on in the process to know if he is your week 1 starter, week 2, week 3, week 4 starter next season because his thigh injury is that serious.
the
So when you
quad he
look at
lifted
it,
off the bone.
yeah, when you look at it, you are guaranteed to
Go ahead.
have, at least for the most part, guaranteed to have one starter out of the 5 on the offensive line. When you look at the secondary, you're guaranteed, based on where they are with contracts, to have 3 out of the 5. So that's two more players, and the other two are KK, who's older and is probably going to be somewhere else next year, and Kwaski Tart, who's he to me he's a hell of a player,
Yeah, but
underappreciated
he's not older,
player on
but
the
he's 30.
defense. But he will likely be gone. But what I'm saying is secondary at least has 3 out of the 5 figured out, like under contract and guaranteed to come back. 49ers offensive line, they have 2 if you consider Mac, but he has yet to announce if he's coming back or not. So
You got
you
4
feel more
question marks.
comfortable saying that it's 1. There you go. God, you made it so simple for me. 4 question marks. There we go. You have 2 question marks in the secondary, 4 question marks on the offensive line. Process of elimination. Offensive line is the priority.
Cole Strange, baby. Make that move. Draft that guy. I like him.
Donation from Big Dez. Appreciate you, my guy. If Trey Lance starts with a revamped O line, that might be a problem.
I'm
Yeah,
glad you
it's
brought that
it's the
up.
priority. It's the priority.
But I'm glad you brought that up because, right, like there's 2 schools of thought. Aaron Banks is going to be used in unison with Trey Lance. That's why he sat, and there was never the plan to play Trey. But also that, and I saw the odds come out for the 49ers, and, I understand people are looking at this team as, hey, they played this close to that's fine. They played this close to a Super Bowl. That's cool. But you need to reset your expectations when Trey starts. There's going to be bumps and bruises, man. And if this team doesn't make the playoffs, there's no way you can just sit there and write off Trey or just, like I think that because of what the 49ers were able to accomplish this year and in unison how people view how limited Jimmy Garoppolo is, they just assume that when Trey takes over, that all this is going to flip and this is like, oh, we're going to be explosive. We're going to, boom, 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 like similar to Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know if that's the necessary way that you should be looking at this, but shout out to Big Des, man. He's always a big supporter of the show, man. And but just I want to temper the expectations because one, we don't know what this roster is going to look like right now, right? There's 33 free agents, 34 free agents. And two, he's still a rookie, man. He's still a rookie. And if he gives me the flashes, and I'll take the ups and downs. If he gives me the flashes and I can point to, I know where they're going, and let's say they, God forbid, don't make the playoffs next year, I still will take knowing you've got more time with Trey, and he's going to be under the supervision of Kyle Shanahan. And so, again, you just have to change the way you're looking at things. That's it. But shout out to Big Des, man. He's always a big supporter, man. Appreciate you, bro, as always. And hope everything's good with you, man. You're muted.
All right, I got it. So we got double E. However you want your E's to be pronounced. Looking back, would we have been better off starting McKivitz instead of Trent Williams? Trent was getting pushed back pretty often in the pass rush. I think that's, like you said, it's always looking back. You could have those conversations, but if that was happening to a 50% Trent Williams, same S would have happened against a Colton McKivitz, 100% Colton McKivitz. So I think if your guy, I'm always going to preach 50% of your superstar is going to be better than 100% of the next guy. You got to ride your superstars. He was the best player in all of football this year, according to some people. So
PFF.
Hey,
PFF just said he's the number one.
You have to ride with Trent Williams in that situation. You can't alter from it.
And if I'm a coach, right, biggest game of the year, and I look at Trent Williams and he looks me in my eye and says, "I'm ready to go, coach."
Absolutely.
Done.
All right.
Done and done.
Say less.
Done and done. That's what I needed to
hear. Don't change your mind.
Because he did in week 18. In week 18 was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you just have to hope that the adrenaline pushes it. This is a good way to look at it in hindsight, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all, EE, but I don't think McKivitz would have made that much of a difference because the entire line played poorly. This team, like Leo alluded to earlier, if you guys haven't watched JT O'Sullivan's video, I suggest you watch it just because there's times where guys are blocking each other. They're not blocking any Rams. So they were ill-prepared one way or another for whatever reason. But if Trent Williams looks me in my eye and says, "I'm ready to go, coach," I don't think twice, and I'm playing that man. And Trent Williams playing that way on that injured ankle is not the reason they lost. Again, it's not one thing. It took an entire team to lose this game. I could point to off coverage from Ambry Thomas and Emmanuel Mosley, letting guys just run curl routes and just get 9, 10 or whatever and just like stay away. And like, there's plenty of things we can all look at in this game. It took an entire team to lose this one, but I don't disagree with the sentiment. But at the same time, Trent Williams is why you're here. Trent Williams is your guy. And if he looks me in the eye and says, I'm playing coach, then I'm going to ride with him, and good or bad.
Absolutely. You take that every time, 10 out of 10. You have to. And Fernando, you've been active here in the comments, so we appreciate you for the donation on this one. Daniel Brunskill and Tom Compton needs to go. They get beat a lot. I want somebody better at right tackle and right guard. I mean, an upgrade. I I don't disagree with what you're saying. What I personally want is Williams, Tomlinson, Mack, Banks, because I don't think Banks can't be that far off from Brunskill after a whole year with this team, and then McGlinchey, because they're going to be paying him 10 million per year.
They took his fifth.
He's going to be super hard to trade at this point. So give me the guy who's going to cost $10 million, and McGlinchey's better player than Tom Compton. Like Tom Compton,
thank you. I'm glad we got to it.
He played,
admirably.
Yeah, for who he is, he played well for who he is. But he doesn't hold McGlinchey's water in pass protection, and we're talking about McGlinchey and pass protection in the same sentence. And Tom Compton doesn't hold his water in that. You could look at the numbers. McGlinchey gave up pressure about every 25 pass rushing snaps, and Tom Compton gave up every 17 pass rushing snaps. So it's a big separation from these two players at right tackle. So that would be my situation there is, once again, Williams, Tomlinson, Mack, Banks, and McGlinchey, because he's making 10 million.
Yeah. And look, we're almost at an hour 15. Shout out to everybody that's in here. I believe we have over 200 people in here right now. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to both channels. Make sure you hit those notification bells so we can continue to bring you the news. And, look, this is what I appreciate about 49ers fans. You guys flock to us because the national media won't talk about us. And I appreciate you guys for coming to us. So if you don't want to be missing out on any new videos, you don't want to be missing out on any content, make sure that you're subscribed to both our channels. Make sure you hit this like button. The like button will help with us because it'll send it into the algorithm and push it up so more people will get eyes on it. You really don't realize how much a simple like on this video can do for both of us. So shout out to everybody that's in here right now.
Yeah. It's every week. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday. So we're going to talk about it if the national media doesn't, and if the national media caps, we'll do our best not to cap at the same time. So, Jason, I appreciate you for making the time out of your day. I know you got things to do with Averly. I got my son who's crying because he probably wants a bottle here. So let's do it next Tuesday. I'll see you. Appreciate all you guys once again. Hit that like, subscribe, comment below. Also, if you want a question answered before the show we go live next week, hit my DM, hit Jason's DM. You see our handles there. That's me on Twitter, on Instagram. You could hit Jason right there on Twitter. You could find his Instagram on my Instagram as well. So we'll just go from there. Appreciate you guys.